Hello, once again, this is another episode of THV Tutorials. I'm Seth. This is the THV crew.
Hello, once again, my name is Nyaba Frank. Absorption. I said this was saying very genius. So not talk with your saying.
Portion.
Alright. By the way, today we have a special guest on the program here. My course friend. Not only course friend. But this is Shams, by the way. I'm very I don't through mic now. Oh, cameraman, who are you?
Yeah, so in this episode, we are continuing with our series on management accounting. We'll be looking at activity-based cost in ABC. So this is a practical session as usual. The theoretical session will be in the link. It will be in the description. The link will be in the description. Just check that out when I'm done with this one. I'll check it out before. Anyway, so we want to solve a practical question. So Shams will be reading a question for us.
Alright, let's do it. So illustration 1, yeah? It says that what? Yeah. Watch yourself, hang. ABC Manufacturing Company produces 4 products, namely WXYZ. Output and cost data for the period just ended are as follows. We have WXYZ. Output levels for the products where W is 10, X is 10, Y is 100, Z is 100. Is that okay? Number of production runs for W is 2, X is 2, Y is 5, Z is 5. Material cost per unit. Material cost per unit for W is 20, X is 80, Y is 20, Z is 20, Z is 80. Direct labor hours per unit. W is 1, X is 3, Y is 1, Z is 3. Machine hours per unit. W is 1, X is 3, Y is 1, Z is 3. No, talk to the mic. Are you shy? Talk to the mic. I don't know. What does it look like, man? So the continuation. It says that what? Direct labor cost per hour, which is 5 cents. Overhead cost was what? 3,000. No. What? Look overhead cost. Like overhead cost.
The overhead cost.
So the overhead cost, you know the overhead cost. They have short run variable cost. 3,080. 8,080. 8,080. 3,080. That's what I said. 3,008. Hey, watch yourself. 3,008. And 80. And 80. Nigga, 3,080. If they said cut 3,080, I back. Setup cost 10,920. That's what's going to happen. Oh, 20. Oh, 10,920. No problem. Thank you, sir. Expedition. Come on. Expediting. Hey, shut up. Shut up. Expediting
Expediting is getting.
Oh, you know the better English. I take my time. Who told expediting? Expediting and scheduling costs 9,100. Material handling costs 7,700. Total of 30,800. Required. Prepare costs for each product using traditional absorption cost. B. Activity based cost, which is what we are learning. Thank you. Expedite, you say expedite.
Yeah, so very well, right? We have to prepare cost for each product using traditional absorption costing and activity-based costing, right? So basically, before we continue, let me just give a little information about the two approaches. We have traditional absorption costing and activity-based costing. Now, the aim of both methods is to determine the aim. To determine cost per unit, right? Cost per unit. That's the main aim, determining cost per unit. Now, each of them has their own ways that they use to determine cost per unit. So how do we find for cost per unit, in a general plant, right? Cost per unit is determined by this formula, which is total cost over units produced. The units produced the same as output, right? But before we can get the cost per unit, what we must find is total cost. Total cost, right? So total cost is given by direct material cost, that's DMC, direct material cost, plus direct labor cost, plus overhead cost. Very well. So when you are solving a question of this nature, the first step that you must take is to calculate for direct material cost and direct labor cost. Those ones will be the same for both methods, right? Total traditional absorption costing, that's the TAC, that's traditional absorption costing. Then the activity-based cost, the ABC. They will use the same direct material cost and the direct labor cost, right? So that's what you're going to do first. I'm going to first determine the direct material cost, the direct labor cost first, right? For the differences will be at the overhead cost. Overhead cost is calculated in a different manner when using absorption activity-based costing. Also, it's also calculated differently when you're using traditional absorption costing, right? So we'll solve for this direct material cost first, and then the direct labor cost next, and then we just put those figures down, right? And then we'll come to how we use the traditional absorption costing system or method to solve for the overhead cost. When I'm done with that, then we move to the activity-based costing. Yeah, so now direct material cost, right?
Take back your head.
Direct material cost is equal to units produced times the material cost per unit, right? Now, bear in mind that from the question you have 4 products W, X, Y, and Z. So you have to find for direct material cost per product, right? Per product. So if we were to solve for the direct material cost of product W, it will be the units produced of product W times the material cost per unit of W. Right, so let's go to the question, right?
Well, Emma, please relax. You said doctor and what you just said.
It's product, just the
so that means you are going to solve it each, like, according to each unit.
I'm going to each product. Yeah.
So there will be 10 times 1.
20. But what is our cost?
No, but 10 times 20.
Say 1. But I don't know 1.
Actually, try giving me my money.
Alright. So, this is direct material cost of product W, right? So let's look in the question at the table, right? It's on the screen. So, what was the material cost? What was the units produced for
10?
Yeah, 10.
10. That's 200.
Times the material cost per unit was what?
Very.
20, right?
When?
Right over here. 20.
When?
So let's just. What about
X.
X?
So the X output is
800.
and then the material per unit is 80.
Very good.
So
800.
Y is 100 times 20.
That's what.
And then Z is
Hey, no, what?
80.
No, what?
CD at 10 is
Come up for here.
Z is 100 times 80.
Right, so that material cost is the cost. So it's in Ghana cedis. Right? What was the unit in the question? Yes, Ghana cedis. So 200. 800.
Oh baby, look at me. Oh baby, look at me. Oh baby, look at me.
Alright, so we just write this down. Alright, so now you are calculating for the direct labor cost. That is DLC, right? Direct labor cost. The formula for that is output times direct labor hours per unit times direct labor cost per hour. Right? So once again, we come to our question. From the material cost that we are solving, we already know what the units are. So we don't mean that just maintain those. And we bring in the direct labor hours per unit and then the direct labor cost per hour. Right? So from our question, direct labor hours per unit follow this order 1313. Right. And if you read the question, on the screen, you can see here now. The direct labor cost per hour was like 5 Ghana cedis.
One times three.
It was above the overhead cost section, right? So it's in red. Direct labor cost per hour, 5 Ghana cedis. So you multiply all by 5. Right, so 10 times 1 times 5 is 50.
Yeah, man.
15, 10, 150.
Yeah, man.
500.
1,500.
Right. So again, you can just write this down. Right, now we move to. Now we are.
Another question.
Yes, please.
The direct, when we are doing the direct material cost,
Yeah.
that one is in what? Is it in cedis or in units?
Direct material cost is in Ghana cedis. Right. That's the whole point. We are measuring everything in cost. So every answer you get will be in Ghana cedis. Right. So now we are moving on to the overhead cost. Right. That will be different for each, and that's where the actual work begins. Right. So let's do that. Right. So now the main aspect of the A part, under the traditional absorption costing system, right? It's the OAR that makes it different. So it's the overhead cost calculation that makes it different, right? So to calculate the overhead cost, we need to what we're going to do with the overhead cost is to apportion it to each of the products, right? We discussed that in the brief video on overhead allocation, right? So we need to allocate our overheads, and we do allocation and apportionment, right? But before we can do the apportionment, we need the OAR, right? The overhead absorption rate. And together we need to get the overhead absorption rate, we calculate total. The formula is total overhead cost over the total labor hours, right? Now total overhead cost was given in the question as what? 30,800. Well, right, 30,800. So that's the total overhead cost. So let me just put it down as TOC. So TOC is equal to what? 30,000. This was a figure, right?
Yeah.
So now how do you get our total labor hours? Now mind you, the formula for overhead absorption rate, it could have been either total labor hours or total machine hours. Right? Usually in this instance they were the same. So the results will give you the same. Anyway.
What if they give you different values? Different values were given. Yeah, I think what if we were given different values? Is it this one direct labor hours per unit and machine hours per unit, the values were the same. So what if different values per unit?
If different values are given, use the one that is more intense. So use the one that have the higher values. Right? Use the one that higher values.
I really understand.
You don't understand this question.
Is if you look at your machine, go to the table.
You see, when you work your question, you see the direct labor hours per unit and then machine hours per unit. See, they have the same values. One, three, do you understand? And then the formula is on the board about overheads,
Overheads, absorption rate.
yeah, overheads and absorption rate. You see, total overheads cost divided by total labor hours. And then he said you can use the total labor hours. You can use machine hours per unit because in this question, the same values were given. And I'm saying, what if different values were given? You understand?
Then his answer was to use the
The
highest.
highest values. Right, yes.
Hey, Nyaba!
Very well. So we know that our total overhead cost was 30,000. So 30,000. 800. Right. So now how do we get the total labor cost? Total labor hours, sorry. Right. So we have to find for the total labor hours of each of the products and add all. Right. So the formula is simply labor hours times output or quantity. Very well. So for W, yeah, is the same 1313, right? So we are multiplying. So it's 10, 10, 100, right? This gives us 10, 30, 100, and then 300, 400, 40.
Self.
Oh,
Guess who?
well done. 150. How about you?
Guess who? Guess who? Guess who? Guess who?
Alright, so total overhead cost is 30,800, and the total labor hours becomes 440 hours, right? And we got that by multiplying. So we form for the total labor hours for each product, and that's given by the number of products, the number of units of the product produced times the hours spent on each unit, right? So that's the 1 times. So for W, they spent 1 hour to create W, right? So it's that 1 hour times the 10 W's that they created. You understand? We get a total of 440 hours, right? Since the board is occupied, we just complete the OER over here. If you count the
Equal to this and
third outside.
so wait, as we are doing, we have to do for each of the products.
Yes, so you find for each of the products, and then you
Sum it.
sum it. Right, so now it's what.
Yeah, yeah.
But you had a question earlier.
Yeah, so
My culture, everything.
So the question was,
Right.
so the question was, is it the main formula that we are using? Okay.
Yeah.
So this question was cost per unit is equal to total cost divided by unit produced. Yes, and then we have already solved the total cost, and now we have already solved for the total cost. We are still solving. So I'll say after solving everything, and then we are going to put it to the main problem. So I'll say when you are going to solve the question using the main problem, are we going to solve it based on how you are solving the total labor hours and like individually, you just take the W and then solve it using a total function. So how are you going to say that?
Alright, so that's a very good question, right? So at the beginning of the video, that formula that I put on the board was, the cost per unit being equal to the total cost over the units produced, right? That's the generic logical formula for trying to ascertain the cost per unit, right? So that's the general formula. But what makes traditional absorption costing and activity-based costing different is that they all have a different way at arriving at total cost, right? They all have different ways of doing that. Traditional absorption costing uses it considers the relationship between time and overhead cost, right? But for activity-based costing, it uses activity, the complexity of the production, right? So the formula over there was just a general formula that this is your cost per unit, right? But the cost per unit for each of the methods will differ because they have a different way of calculating total cost, right? So
Okay, so it means it's going to be solved
individually. Yeah.
But wait, that also have a question. Alright. And then you said we solve for each food item, but I don't know if you're going to solve for each food item, you're still going to get the same values running through.
The only same values we'll be having would be for direct material cost and direct labor cost. But overhead cost for traditional absorption cost will be different. And then for ABC, activity-based costing will also be different. Right? So that's why I was saying that the difference comes from the overhead cost. Because both methods have a different way of calculating for the overhead cost. But the direct material cost, the direct labor cost are always the same. So the step that you saw, it's always the same. Very well. Right? So now we have, when we calculate our overhead absorption rate, we get 70 grams per hour, right? So that's our overhead absorption rate. So now we use this to apportion the cost to each of the products, right? So let's do that. So now the apportionment, right? Yeah, you're going to use the overhead absorption rate to apportion the cost. Well, so to apportion the cost, we have to multiply the OAR times the labor hour, the total labor hour per product, right? So on the table, you realize that let's just write the OAR down. So 70. Now in our calculations, what was the figure for the total labor hours for product W? What was it? Calculated it when we finding the
total hours.
Yeah. 10, right?
Total labor hours.
Labor hours.
This one was 30. Also. 100 and 300, right? $700, 2,100, it's 1,000. No, this is supposed to be 7,000. Well, now this is how you know you're on the right path. When you add all the OAR times total labor hour per product, when you add all of this, it should give you the total overhead cost. Right.
To do a total overhead cost.
Yeah. Well, so now on our screen,
You had a we
we have the final results. Right?
Because the formula for the apportionment is
the OAR times the total labor hour per product.
That's
OAR, yeah, the overhead absorption rate
times total labor cost.
Total labor hour per product, not cost, labor hour per product.
Total labor hour.
Right. So, if you look on the screen now, you have our table over there, and look, that's the final results. You have column Y, X, Z, W, X, Y, Z, right? Total on one end, total two at the bottom. Then after the total, which is in red, you have the units produced, right? So the total divided by the unit produced will give you the cost per unit, which is the last row. The H.
OH.
Yeah, overhead cost of W. Sorry, the OHC stands for overhead cost. Sorry. Right. So on the table right now on the screen, I see what? 95, 305, 95 again, and then 305. Very well. So that's how we go about it for traditional absorption cost. Right.
Where's the next step on the table?
Yeah, it's on the table. Look at the results. Right. Very well. So now moving on to activity-based cost.
4400. But we don't get 4400 now.
What was this? No, that's the total. No, this is the total.
Oh.
Right. The overhead cost is over here. So it's 30. Yeah. Alright. So let's do the activity-based cost in the ABC. Alright. So before we begin with the activity-based costing, let me just elaborate more on the table that was visible, right? So it's here now. So remember that we said that to get the cost per unit, it's going to be the total cost divided by the units produced, right? So all the work that I have done up to this point is trying to ascertain the total cost. So that's what this table is doing. So we have the columns, we have W, X, Y, Z, these are the products, right? And the first column, you have the direct material, direct labor, and overhead. Now, you realize that total is in red, right? So that's the summation of direct material, direct labor, and the overhead. So that gives 950, 350, 3050, and so on and so forth. Right? Now, you have the units produced, right? And that's where the formula comes in. Total cost divided by the output. So for W, the cost per unit is 950 divided by 10, which results in 95. X 30, 3050, 3050 divided by 10. Big is 305. Right. And so that's how you get the cost per unit for traditional absorption cost. Very well. Now, before we start with the activity-based costing, let's read this. Using activity-based costing, it will be assumed that the number of production runs is the cost driver for setup costs. Yes, Frank. Is the cost driver for setup cost, expediting and scheduling cost, and material handling cost, right? And that machine hours are the cost driver for short run variable cost. What does this mean? Yes, Frank.
So, can you the question told us, if you wanted to find the general cost per unit, could you have added the 10 plus 10 plus 100 plus 100, then you divide it by the 44,000?
You are saying that we should add a 10 by 10.
I was asking if you could add a 10 plus, you see the table that was displayed.
I'm asking, I get what it's meant.
Right.
It's impossible. It's impossible because before you can get that 44,000, you must first of all get the 950. Yes, you must first of all get the 950 and 8,050 and 9,500 before you can get the 44,000. You can't get that. You can't come for dress and come and do magician and then you get 44,000.
Okay, but brother, can you add
the 10 plus the 10 plus the 100 plus the 100 and divide it by the 30,800.
Don't worry. Let me get a simple answer. Feel free to do that, but this is what I'm teaching.
You just show me camera.
Solve it, man.
Show me camera.
So please follow the steps.
Give me the mic. You know, chop am.
Don't look for easy way. Just follow the steps.
Just one shortcut. No shortcut.
This is what I was asking. 10 plus 10, 20 plus 100, 100. So yeah, you get 220, right? Then divide by the 38,800, the 30,800.
No. It's like you don't understand what we are doing. Listen.
Just follow.
I understand though. And the one short one, make I get cost per unit straight for fine for all of them.
No problem. As I said,
Right.
just do what you can do.
You can
do it.
You can use a short way and you get short mark.
Give me the mic.
Like.
Give me the.
So with activity-based costing, it doesn't use the OAR. It doesn't use combined absorption rate, right? It uses cost driver rate very well, right? That's one aspect of it. Now, in activity, going back to the question, right? After the table, with activity-based costing, costs are accumulated in cost pools. Right? Cost pools. Right? Now they are accumulated using cost drivers. Cost drivers. Right? Now, a cost driver is anything that causes an activity to increase in cost. Right? That causes an activity to increase in cost. So, if you look at this at the table, right, you have the short-term variable cost, the setup cost, the expediting and scheduling cost, the materials handling cost. Those are all cost pools, right? Now, what is used to accumulate those cost pools, guys?
The cost drivers.
The cost drivers. So, if you look at the now go back to the solution aspect, like the first slide for activity-based cost. It says that we should assume that the number of production runs is the cost driver for the setup cost, the expediting and scheduling cost, and then the materials handling cost. Right? Those are the cost drivers. So let's say that for setup cost, it is number of production runs that is determining or accumulating the cost. Are you getting it?
No.
Which aspect?
What you just said.
Wow.
That machine hours are the cost drivers for short run variable. When you say that the cost pools were this thing. Short run variable cost, setup cost, and then
scheduling cost.
So how then do you make this cost pools right?
Yeah, like
What causes them to rise? To the cost drivers, and they are saying here that
So let me explain it this way, right? It's called activity-based costing, right? Because it looks at the production, the nature of the production or the complexity of the production before it assigns cost, right? So we can put it this way: OAR is to activity-based costing. Sorry, OAR, the overhead absorption rate, is to the traditional absorption costing. What the cost driver rate is to activity-based costing. I've confused it more.
OAR is to what?
OAR is to this.
It's to traditional activity costing.
Right. I think that the role that OAR plays in traditional absorption costing is the same role that CDR is the cost driver rate that is playing absorption based costing. So activity based costing.
Okay. In traditional absorption cost, you use OAR. And then in ABC, sorry. Activity costing, you use CDR.
The cost driver rate.
Cost driver rate.
Now, another difference too is that if we are doing traditional absorption costing, the OAR will be like one figure calculated for the whole thing. You're using it to determine every cost, right? But with the activity-based costing, it has categorized everything into cost pools. So we have cost pools for expediting and scheduling costs. We have one for machine setup cost. We have short-run variable cost, right? And each of them has their own CDR. Isn't it? So if you want to apportion, let's say setup cost, you have to use the CDR to apportion it, right? You also apportion scheduling and expediting. You also use something. So everyone has its own cost driver rate. Frank, you look
just like the way in OAR to apportion it, we use.
Yes, but if it was OAR, we'll be using the same OAR for all of it.
But then in activity-based costing, each pool has its CDR.
Yeah.
So the circles there are the pools, and then each drivers they have each. The pools have unique drivers.
Yeah.
Frank, you can ask the question.
So what about the short-term variable?
Bring your face first.
What about the short-term variable cost?
So in the question, look at the short-term variable cost. The cost you have for that one is machine hours.
Okay.
So whatever we'll do for the short run, the long run, or what?
The short run variable cost. When you in the table, the table it says what? Short run variable cost. So the pool, that's the pool, right?
I now understand.
And then the
so whatever we will do for relax.
So the number of production. So that means the setup cost, the expediting and scheduling cost, and then the material handling costs are going to use the number of production runs, right?
Yes.
So the number of production runs are the cost drivers for setup costs, expediting and scheduling costs, and then materials handling costs, and then the CDR for short run variable costs is 14 hours.
Yes, it's why you're reading it now.
No, I didn't understand the plate writing. Now I just understood.
But you said look.
No, I've now understood. Put it
around. He says about and that machine hours are the cost drivers for short run variable cost. Yet you
cost driver, no drivers.
Sorry. Cost driver for short run variable.
I read this English.
No, but this one you read it.
Relax. I read this in English. I was listening to the plate talking. Hey. For my lecture.
No, relax. What are you trying to tell us?
Everything was plate. Said one. You two said one. He said one. So if it's plate. This
is 3. Is that it? 1 plus 1 is plenty.
Alright. So back to this side.
What?
So we have to. Well, let's begin. So for the scheduling cost, the scheduling and expediting cost, and the material handling cost, we will have to apportion each of them to the various products, right? So let's do that.
Teach yourself. You're laughing at the teacher. Is that what it is? You're laughing at the teacher.
Ask me to
Say bad. Hey! Come on, Mike. Show the board.
Why you like that?
Pesado.
Let's start.
Bano bayi kwe.
So we'll start with this one. So that was first.
Hey! Hello.
Why do I watch ball through?
What do you think? That's a space left.
Still.
Right, so let's begin with the setup cost. Right, so the setup cost. What was the total cost The question it was
Setup cost was
10,920.
920. And what's the cost driver for that one?
The cost driver for that one is
Production run.
Production run for that one is you have to calculate the total for production.
Yes. So we have to start for that.
That's
Very-
14. It's a very good thing, guys. Thank you.
So the production runs. Yes, please. Fine.
I was the one who said the 40.
Alright. So the cost driver will be the total of the production runs, right? So please let's add the so let's add them 1 plus 5.
It's 2 plus 2 plus 5
5
plus
plus 5.
2 plus 2 plus 5 plus 5.
yes, please.
So 14. So this will be 10, 920 over 14. So all we are finding is the cost driver rate. Right. The answer becomes 780 per production run. So no. Yes.
780 cedis per production run.
780. Yes.
86.
It is cost driver rate. So you have to add the cost to it.
Right. So when we get this figure, we'll now come and we'll now apportion it to the various products.
Okay. The various product is W, X, Y, Z.
Yes. Yes, please.
But what is the various product? What else? Hey, why you want to knock me? Please, like, you are going to go to. I knock me. No, not. Yeah. You're the. So that's how you are. So I cannot trust you. I cannot trust you.
Do I trust you?
You don't trust me.
Do I trust you?
No, do you trust me? No, if you trust.
Camera is on short. I point to the board.
Yeah, I see. You do what? You be sick, man. You don't know what learn. Do you trust?
Do you trust me?
I go trust you now. Do you trust?
You don't get an answer now.
You don't trust.
You don't
So
get
all
an
the
answer.
time that we fight, you don't trust.
Do you trust me? It's a mutual thing. Do you trust me?
Mutual. You be cow. Mutual.
Me or child?
Yeah,
Right. So this is how we calculate. So now we are apportioning the setup cost. When you go,
can I ask a question?
yes, please.
Where did you get the
As you went far away.
total over exports? Total over exports.
This is the
Cost driver.
total. The setup cost. The total. The total was 1090, 920, right? So we are apportioning it to the various products,
Okay, yeah.
right? So I'll just put the figures in.
Hey, put it in, man.
That's all you know. Wow.
Now you.
Come on, man. I don't like that.
I don't know what the wrong
I don't like that.
Small thing, they carry come up for that.
Oi, Mandem, would you move the camera, yeah? Thank you very much. Yeah. for UK, I go UK and die. I know, like, just please. Them die.
I know. Yes. So when you do your calculation, you get these figures. 1,560 Ghana cedis. Same here. 3,900. Same here. Same here. So this is the apportionment for setup cost. Right. There will also be a table in the end, but this is how you calculate it, right? So first step is you determine the cost driver rate. That's the overhead cost being calculated over the total of the cost driver, or in this case, the total of the production runs. 2255. So you see that these two was for WX, YZ, right? WX, YZ, 2255, right? Very well. Then we have your 780 per production run. No, sorry. You have. Well, when you add all of this, it should give you your total 10,920. Right. Yeah, so that's how you check if you are right.
When you add
all your assets over here,
you get 10,000.
yes.
Your TOC.
Yeah.
Top.
Right. So now we are moving on to the next one.
Next. The last one.
Right. Can I?
The next one is.
Wait. So you solve this.
No. This will go to our. Now we are calculating the overhead cost using the activity-based costing. Right. So this will go into our calculation for activity-based costing. We are calculating the overheads. Are you following? Are you sure? Yes. When you add,
so that means the total for this one will be this one. The total for this one, the one you saw, the total for this one will be the total overhead. Total overhead cost.
If you should see.
The total overhead, like the
setup
cost. Yes. So,
I have a question.
yeah.
So then, we're doing direct activity-based cost, right?
Yeah.
So then is it that we skip to, or me, I have not paid attention. We skip to short setup cost, we left short-term variable cost.
We just did that one first. We'll do all.
So we are supposed to do all.
Yeah, we'll do all. Alright, so now move on to the next one. Now we're moving to the expediting and scheduling cost, right? And that's now in the question was 9100. So this is the total. The production runs, the cost driver was the production runs. So it's the same 14 as the total, right? So now solving this will give us this 900, 9100 divided by 14. The result is 650 Ghana cedis per production run. Right, so same steps.
I wanted to ask this.
Yes, please.
The first one is cost driver what? Cost driver per production run, right?
Please, which?
The one they are with. Yeah, apportioning it. See,
No, just do Ghana cedis because this is the apportionment. So
I
just
mean, it's written cost driver slash production run.
Cost driver per product.
Right.
Thanks. So 650.
No, that forget the same value. And I will lie. Bro. Hey!
Lawrence Kulo. Right, so this become the values.
Yes.
Right, yes. So let's first look at it.
Just an example, run through material handling.
Yeah, so next is the Material handling cost.
And there is a local give you 3 marks.
Such question like this, if in exams, you're not able to finish your paper from A to Z, I mean, complete everything. You pay every hour. You say this practical question like this, you say for right, but for right, then finish your paper. But if after the exams, then you pay, your paper is not finished, people are taking extra papers, then you pay the right half of the sheet.
Be yourself, be yourself. Boy, I know the book. Why you write for my hand?
Are you going to do the same?
Oh God.
So material handling cost, follow the same procedure, right? This is the total 7,100. Cost driver is the same, so 14. So 7,100 over 14 gives you 550 per production run. Right? And them gives you these values. So you can just pause the video and watch. Like running. Yeah, so now the short run variable cost, right? For this one, the cost driver was different. So it was machine hours. Right? So the machine hours, it goes differently, right? So you can't use the 1313 over there. You have to get it for the product. So you multiply the hour by the output. So that's why you are seeing 10 over here, not 1. So it's 10 times 1.
2 times 10.
3 times 10, yes. And then 1 times 100. And 3 times 100. Yeah. That's what gives a 440 machine hours, right? That gives 7 machine hours, 7 analysis per machine hours, right? And that gives this of cost, right? So let's analyze that. The final table. So the final table is on the screen, right? So let's analyze that. So where that the direct material and the direct labor, as I said in the beginning, don't change, right? Those don't change at all. So now you have your short variable overheads, 70 to 10. So the figures would match, they would correspond, right? Whereas that all the overhead costs are summing to the total of the various ones. The cost which you saw in the question over here, right? This cost is so see, and just what these figures: 380, 10, 920, 9,100, 7,700, right? They are all corresponding very well. So now you also arrive at your total cost per each product. Then you divide by the units to get your cost per unit, right? So these are the cost per unit when you use activity-based costing. So you realize that there's a huge difference, right? So one thing to note is that the traditional absorption costing just uses the total overhead cost, which was a 30,800, to make its calculation or to make the apportionment and stuff. Yes, but when you come to the activity-based costing, the cost driver varies the cost pool. Every cost pool has their own cost driver. It's in this particular question that you have production runs being the cost driver for 3 cost pools, but that's not usually the case. And in most situations in the examination, you will have to match the cost to the cost driver and the cost driver to the cost pool yourself. So you have to read carefully, right, and break down the words.
So in the question, they will give you the cost driver to be right.
The cost drivers will be provided in the question, but you would have to match them. That maybe setup cost we use machine set. We use machine setup hours. Yes.
Down board.
Yeah, so you have to.
You see, this question specifically was stated.
Yeah, but you see, this is like a trial question trying to explain the whole concept. So it was way simpler, yes, but in an actual examination, you have to know. It was made quite simple. You have to know.
You have to know. You have to know.
Stop laughing. You have to read the question and then you know your.
Okay, so we're stating the question, but then you have to find it out.
No.
Just fish it out. Let me see.
Yes. It won't be obvious.
Oh, it's not be obvious. Yeah?
It will be kept in this form. This format. So they can tell that number of production is a cost driver for setup.
It
won't be like this.
No, this is a solution.
No. Set is trying to say
they use this question
very simple to us.
So wait, this is a solution, right? This is a solution. Inside the solution, they told us that number of production runs is the cost driver for setup, expediting,
run.
Number of production runs is the cost driver. Number of production runs. If you runs per year at the rate, is the cost driver for setup, expediting, and scheduling. Then material handling cost, right? So it means that in the question, this solution will be given to you. It means you have to journey and get it.
Yes.
So how will you go to journey and get it?
You just check out the theoretical video. All things are.
Okay, the theoretical video.
Okay. Yes. So you know what the theoretical video is?
Yeah, I should have not watched it. So that means
you should have not watched it.
I have not watched it.
Watch what?
I have not watched.
Watch what?
I've not tried it. I've not watched the theoretical video. It means this will have to go and do justice to that.
Right. So yeah, make sure you watch the theoretical video. It will make everything that much simpler. No. So now the summary of the table, right? Now this is being done to explain or elaborate why it's important to use the right costing method to arrive at your cost per unit. Right.
So basically, activity-based costing, traditional
Base cost.
Traditional adoption costing.
Traditional absorption costing. Basically, it's like you have the same format, right? Like how you are going to, they have the same format.
Yes.
The formula you are going to use. Because
Yes.
I realize at the end of the day, you are going to divide the body.
All those formulas are the same. But what varies is that
the cost drivers,
terminologies, and just remember that the OAR is for everything, but with the activity-based costing, every cost pool has its cost driver. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So this is like a summary of all that you've done, right? You have the unit cost, you have the unit cost for the traditional adoption cost, and you have the one for activity-based cost, right? And you see the differences over here.
But this one, they should be conventional. So that means you are going to add 420 plus 512 plus 161 plus 200. So the total, you divide it with the 44,000, right?
Which total?
The cost per unit.
No, the cost per unit, that's only the total. The cost per unit of a product.
Okay, so we want the cost per unit for individual.
Yes, right, exactly.
Possible.
The analysis of the summary, right? So the summary above suggests that the traditional volume-based absorption costing system is flawed because the low volume profits W and X are not being charged with a fair share of the cost of the overhead support activities, right? Now, traditional absorption costing may be unsatisfactory for two reasons. A, it under-allocates overhead costs to low volume products.
What is summary talking about?
What's this table?
We are basically looking at the importance of using activity-based cost because
When we show that to give some.
it will depend on the question, but it's not like this is just trying to enhance your understanding, right? So realize that, see, for product W and X like this, if you use traditional absorption costing, it's giving you 95 Ghana cedis per cost. For YX is giving you 10.5 Ghana cedis per cost. But if you look at activity-based costing, where the figures are way high out there. They have 428, 512. Right? So if you're using traditional absorption costing, it means that you'll be making loss because your costs are way more than you're actually anticipating. Right? So activity-based costing helps you get the right cost and you manage your whole organization properly. And you don't end up incurring a loss, right?
But then with the activity-based costing, is it that it's preferred to use activity-based costing or in relation to this question?
In this modern era, it's better to use activity-based costing. Yeah. If you watch it's the theoretical aspects. It's about when the traditional absorption costing was being used, it was at the time when production was not that prevalent, and times have changed, right? And right now in this century, overhead cost accounts for a greater portion of total cost. And it's mentioned that direct labor cost can contribute as little as 5% to the cost that are incurred. So if you're not finding a way to accurately determine your overhead cost or total cost, you're going to crash your business, right? So that's just what this table is saying. And these points were made that with the traditional absorption costing, it's either going to under-allocate overheads to low volume products and over-allocate overheads to higher volume products, or it will under-allocate overheads to smaller size products and it will over-allocate overheads to larger products, right? So we said that activity-based costing addresses these problems and arguably produces a more realistic or satisfactory cost, right? So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the project.
Also, don't forget to drop a comment. Make sure you drop a comment and go and watch the theoretical aspect of this video.
Yeah.
And also, don't forget to theoretical aspect of this very video. So drop a comment, and if you have not watched the theory part, go and do that. And also make sure you turn on the notification bell. Once again, the name is Absorption.
I mentioned that.
And once again, remember the special man here. My coach friend there. I have a coach and tell them one way.
It's actually enjoying this wonderful.
Oh, yeah, it's been here since the beginning.
Anyways, thank you for watching. My name is Lois. Bye.